Betty on the streets, yeah, she brings the heat. Drama around the corner, feeling that beat. YouTube days, episodes unfold. Betty's got the scoop, stories untold. Navigating drama, twists and turns. Betty breaks it down, everyone learns. Go down low, she's got all the tea. Pull up to the screen, come and watch for free. Watch. Betty, on the go. Streaming live, don't miss the show. On the streets, she's our guide. Hip-hop dance, keep it locked inside. Every episode, every time, Betty's here, making it shine. Feel the rhythm, hit the floor. Betty's drama, always wanting more. Catch the vibe, she's in the groove. Each new twist, she's got the moves. Drama drops, beats keep going. Dance all night, energy showing. Betty, on the go. Streaming live, don't miss the show. On the streets, she's our guide. Hip-hop dance, keep it locked inside.
Good morning and welcome back to my channel. My name is Betty Washam. I am your host, and we are going to go through part 3 of how they actually took down the cartel and broke them from the inside out, not just on their bones, but they broke their bloodline and everything else. People was wondering, why was the military in Los Angeles? Why was they in Texas? Why was they all over the place? What were they doing? They were gearing up so that they could take down the most iconic arrests around the United States of America within days apart from each other. Nobody knew who to contact or nothing. Once you start taking the octopus and you start ripping them out one by one by the roots, they left not even a breath for them to gasp or anything else. It's very intriguing how they did it as a military style operation. And today so many more people have been arrested, and our streets are so much safer now. But we're going to watch the rest of what we didn't get to watch yesterday of some of the things that was going on in America. And, people was just not doing nothing about it. And I'm glad that finally somebody decided that, it's time to take these operations down. They're not even from here. They wasn't from here. So without further ado, let's get this going. And let's go into part 3.
To the United States, whether they're from Mexico or South America or Africa or Asia, it's almost irrelevant to them.
In 2025, U.S. agents Diabala, a cartel operative selling newborns for $14,000 each. Her capture exposed a Los Angeles trafficking empire. Billions seized, 3+ women and children rescued, but the case was only the day that works ICE man. Reality. It's the justice being served in this chaotic world we live in. Human trafficking is absolutely, unequivocally real. It's a horrifying crime that affects millions of people worldwide. $73 billion.
Hold on 1 second. I think I've got a problem. Are we back? All of a sudden, everything just went black again. I don't know what is going on. Stop it. I'm trying to learn.
In illegal profits every single year. That's not a typo. $173 billion. We're talking about an industry of human suffering that rivals the GDP of entire nations. Busted a huge Los Angeles-based cartel human trafficking ring. The alleged results: billions of dollars seized and more than 3,000 children and women rescued. It's the kind of operation that would make headlines around the world. Largest human trafficking
trafficking. Yeah. And if you look at what the cartels are doing, it's all of their stuff.
And more disturbing than any single viral headline could capture. You see, ICE and the Department of Homeland Security conduct frequent human trafficking investigations throughout the United States, often in collaboration with local and federal agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and Homeland Security, making a difference. But they're also much smaller in scale than what this viral claim suggests. Let me paint you a picture of what real ICE operations actually look. 361 undocumented migrants, many of whom had criminal histories. But here's what really matters. They also rescued 14 migrant children from potential forced labor and exploitation. 14 children, not 3,000.
Hang on just a second. It keeps wanting to go really, really slow, and I'm not sure what in the world is going on here. Why? There's nothing else. It's at 10:40, so I don't know what is going on today, but quit it. Thank you.
From a nightmare of exploitation. Was that operation important? Absolutely. Were those 14 children worth saving? Without question. And that's the pattern we see again and again when we look at actual verified ICE operations. In June 2025, a Bay Area multi-agency operation called From the Brink of Unimaginable Horror. In August 20, a Nebraska hotel-based trafficking ring rescued 27 victims, including 10 children under the age of 12. The Department of Homeland Security reported that these young victims were found in dirty, squalid motel rooms, trapped in conditions that should shock the conscience of every decent human being. 5 people were arrested in connection with this ring, illegal immigrants charged with trafficking and harboring. The operation also revealed connections to drug trafficking, though it wasn't linked to any major cartel. These are real operations with rooters being brought to justice. Notice the scale. We're talking about dozens of victims, not thousands. We're talking about thousands of dollars seized, not billions. And these distinctions matter because when we inflate the numbers beyond recognition, we actually do a disservice to the very real victims who need our help.
We target the worst of the worst. Denver has a lot of criminal aliens here. If they have people that are with them that are also illegally present, they're going to be arrested as well.
Let me give you another example that really drives this point home. In November 2023, authorities in the South Bay area busted a sex trafficking ring that rescued 18 victims, including 1 juvenile. During this operation, which they called Operation Phoenix, law enforcement arrested and seized dollars seized, not billions. But you know what? Those 18 victims, those 18 human beings who were being bought and sold like commodities, their lives matter just as much as if there had been 3,000 of them. There's the conflation with what's often called the missing children crisis. You've probably heard the numbers thrown around. Under the previous Biden administration, approximately 325,000 unaccompanied minors crossed the border and were subsequently lost by the system. This is a real issue that deserves serious attention and investigation. Recent Department of Homeland Security statements indicate that they've been working to track down these children, finding approximately 20,000 to 35,000 since 2020. But these are tracking efforts, locating children who entered the system, not rescues from a single trafficking ring. The distinction is crucial. Moreover, there's the very real issue of cartel profits from human trafficking. Some reports show that Mexican cartels may be making as much as $2 billion per month from various trafficking activities. That's the money they're earning from this horrific trade, not the amount being seized in operations. When you see numbers like billions thrown around in viral headlines, it's often this cartel revenue figure being misrepresented as money that was actually confiscated by law enforcement.
The Mexican state, the government, and its cartels are in alliance with one another. And so everything that we see resulting from that,
All right, so give me just 1 second because there's another one I wanted to go and look at, not this one. I got the wrong one. I was just watching it right before I came on here. What? It's this one, yeah. I found it. Okay. I'm not quite awake, so just bear with me. I'm getting used to this again. Told you I'd be here. I'm here. Whoever's not here, you guys can watch it later.
We're good! Step left! Step back forward!
The FBI just ambushed one of the mountains of weapons, millions in hard drugs, and the shattered remains of a criminal empire. But amid the chaos, one question cuts through every briefing room and every headline. How the network? For nearly a decade, US federal agencies have monitored a steady evolution in how the Jalisco New Generation Cartel CJNG expands its influence. Originating in Mexico's Pacific state of Jalisco, the syndicate rose from regional enforcers to one of the world's most aggressive narcotics and arms and through distribution 30 but disciplined, built around within that architecture.
For this StreamYard, and then this StreamYard wants to sit here and act up. Exactly. Good morning, Ty. Yeah, I paid money yesterday for this StreamYard, and then it just wants to go in and out, in and out. And I don't know how it's doing on your end, but on my end, it's just going in and out. And I'm just like, what in the heck? Like, work. Do what I'm telling you to do. Thank you. It's only 32 minutes.
Alicia Mendez Aguilar, known by her alias La Diabla, emerged as a figure of calculated ruthlessness.
Marta Alicia Méndez Aguilar, conocida como La Diabla, señalada como una líder del Cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación y acusada de encabezar una red de tráfico de bebés y extracción de órganos. Según la investigación de Estados Unidos y México, Méndez Aguilar atraía a mujeres embarazadas en situación vulnerable a lugares remotos en Ciudad Juárez.
According to cross-border intelligence reports, La Diabla managed what investigators later described as a dual-purpose trafficking infrastructure, narcotics distribution, and illicit organ trade, while details...
I don't think this... We watched this one yesterday. This is not the one I'm looking for either. Give me just one moment here. It's not the one I'm looking for either. Oh, Betty, I just watched it 5 seconds ago before I even went live. There it is. Yeah, it's the CJNG cartel. They got crushed. DEA raid seizes 1.1 million in pills and 48 million in cash. They crushed them the other day when they came in on them. So let me see if I can get this. This is the one I wanted to add. This is the one I've been wanting to talk about, because this one right here was ran like a military organization.
Generation cartel.
Another 300 pounds from just a few miles away. This is all in one county in the course of half of 1 week. And so these drugs are absolutely out there.
At exactly 5:47 hours on September 22nd, 2025, a silent lit up inside Federal Command Center as the agency surged, prepared to strike one violent empires on Earth. For years, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel CJNG had lived heroin and fentanyl into American neighborhoods. But on this morning, the first time, this was a 5-day coordinated involving 20.
All right, we're going to try this again because I do not know what in the hell is going on. This is ridiculous.
23 U.S. field divisions and 7 foreign regions, timed so precisely that CJNG's network wouldn't have a single second to reroute product, burn evidence, or hide its money. The mission objective was blunt: sever the cartel's pipelines, cripple its distribution chain, and rip out the infrastructure that kept its empire alive. If even one major node survived, CJNG could recover. But if the chain snapped everywhere at once, its empire would choke. Before we go deeper, make sure to like and subscribe, because this breakdown exposes how close CJNG came to tightening its grip on America and how fast that grip collapsed. By the end of the first wave, agents began reporting something almost unheard of. CJNG was reacting slowly. Normally, when a single city gets hit, the cartel simply shifts the load to another corridor. But this time, there was nowhere to run. Raids detonated across Los Angeles, Texas, the Pacific Northwest, and New England, all in the same window. At the exact same hour, foreign partners targeted CJNG assets overseas. It was a synchronized strike, fast, silent, and ruthless. Yet, one question hung over every tactical channel: how deep had CJNG embedded itself into American life? The answer came in waves of shocking confirmations: stash houses in quiet suburbs, distribution hubs near family neighborhoods, couriers blending in as everyday workers. This wasn't a street gang hiding in shadows. This was a global enterprise, operating in more than 40 countries, disguised as normalcy. At 72 hours, surveillance teams noticed something they had been waiting for: panic inside the network. Couriers vanished from their routes. Regional distributors went dark. Financial channels froze. CJNG's usually fluid communication fractured. The machine was still running, but it was coughing, stumbling, losing rhythm. The window to finish the job had opened, but it wouldn't stay open for long. Then came the seizures. When agents breached warehouses and transport nodes, they uncovered staggering quantities: 6,000 kilograms of methamphetamine, nearly 23,000 kilograms of...
Okay, I want to stop this right here while it's going into what all they confiscated. But when they did this actual mission, they had to do it a military style, because this was an organization. This wasn't just your everyday drug dealer, whatever. This was ran like a corporation business. And so they had to cut it. They had to literally rip the roots out. They had to they had to bleed them dry, literally. And they had to do it simultaneously without anybody being able to call anybody, or anybody being able to help anybody or anything. I mean, this took a lot of planning, a lot of people in our government, with our military, our FBI, ICE, Homeland Security. They need a big round of applause, because they made our streets way safer today than they were 5 days ago. And this is real serious.
Cocaine, 92 kilograms of fentanyl powder, and 1.1 million counterfeit fentanyl pills, each pill potent enough to kill. Every bag, every crate was more than contraband. Each represented lives that would have been lost, families that would have buried loved ones, neighborhoods that would have drowned in addiction. And the hits didn't stop at narcotics. Agents stripped the cartel of $48 million in cash and assets money CJNG used to buy loyalty, traffic influence, and expand its reach. Alongside it, 244 firearms were pulled from circulation, tools of intimidation, enforcement, and terror. CJNG felt the blow. For the first time, the cartel's U.S. network wasn't bending under pressure. It was breaking. But as agents pushed further, one realization sent a chill through the command floor. If this much product, money, and firepower existed on American soil, what else was still buried in the system? Because what investigators were about to uncover next would reveal the cartel's true scale and prove that this takedown was only the opening move. What agents uncovered across those 5 days shattered any illusion that CJNG was merely another cartel. This was a multinational engine, one that ran on logistics, discipline, and death. As intelligence files were compiled, a clearer picture emerged. The network they had just struck was only one layer of a structure spread across continents. Chemical precursors from foreign suppliers, mega labs in Mexico, cross-border transport routes using commercial trucks, suburban stash houses in the United States, local redistributors feeding neighborhoods one shipment at a time. CJNG didn't behave like a gang. It operated like a corporation with a single product line: poison. And that was the threat. Even decapitated, the machine could regrow. Even crippled, it could adapt. Federal commanders knew it. DEA analysts knew it. And every agent in the field understood a simple reality. This takedown mattered only if the infrastructure stayed broken. If even one corridor reopened, CJNG would return with the same brutality, the same money, the same reach. Yet this time, the cartel didn't get its usual breathing room. For years, CJNG thrived by exploiting delays, court delays, jurisdiction delays, communication delays. But during this surge, there were no delays. The hits came too fast, too widespread, too synchronized to counter. When Los Angeles was breached, Houston was already being raided. When New England fell silent, the Pacific Northwest was being stripped of stash houses. It wasn't pressure, it was suffocation. Still, the most disturbing discovery wasn't the volume of drugs or the river of cash. It was how perfectly CJNG.
The only way that they could take these people actually down to where they were getting them getting the roots up and actually being able to arrest the people in charge was to hit them all at the same exact moment where they didn't even have a chance to go run out the door or anything. And I'm talking, this is over 11 states of doing this. They had to just hit them all at the same exact time, all the operation houses. And I'll tell you, being in law enforcement, being in the military, going in and busting down them doors. You guys saw they had 270 some weapons. Others had more weapons. So I guess when they finally did strike, it was so fast, so courageous, so quick. They didn't even have time to even grab their stuff to even try to fight back. And that's why these people are now behind bars. Where they belong, and a lot of them will be deported because a lot of them they're not even American citizens. We had people in America doing this because we're not going to talk about politics, but somebody allowed borders to be open so that everybody in the world could just come to America and ruin America. Yes, and exactly. We were always told that military would be the only way. We didn't know exactly what that meant, but when we saw that the military was in Los Angeles, Texas, all these major states where there's a lot of drug trafficking, a lot of human trafficking, a lot of that kind of stuff. That's when I started thinking maybe something else is going on here. And then when they hit them all simultaneously 2-3 days ago, I was like, wow, how smart were they? Even the cartel knew that the Army National Guard was there, but they came there 3 months early, made it look like they were just doing normal routine and stuff, but they were actually there to take them down. And they had no clue. They just thought, oh, this is something President Trump's doing, blah, blah, blah. And that's what got them. They didn't get scared. They didn't think anything about it. And they were only there for them. That's what it was about. And our world is so much safer today if you only knew.
Had integrated itself into ordinary American landscapes. Investigators found fentanyl pills pressed to resemble Adderall, Xanax, and oxycodone. They found suburban neighborhoods high international trafficking nodes. They found posing as routine delivery workers, quietly bridging the gap between cartel megalabs and American kitchen tables. CJNG wasn't invading, it was blended into them. That real danger. If a cartel did well, agents wondered how many more networks were still buried out of sight. The surge forced those questions into the open. By removing 670 cartel-linked suspects from the system, federal teams didn't just remove street dealers. They extracted transporters, redistributors, couriers, and middle-tier managers who kept the supply lines alive. Each arrest was a severed artery. Each interrogation revealed a new link. Each seized phone unlocked another branch of CJNG's internal map. But the cartel still had oxygen money. That's why the $48 million seized became one of the most decisive blows. To CJNG, cash was not a trophy, it was a weapon. It financed shell companies. It purchased safe houses. It bought silence. It funded corruption. It built loyalty. Take away the money, and the machine starved. That was the strategy. Drain the bloodstream, not just break the bones. Meanwhile, agents tracking fentanyl made a chilling calculation. With 92 kilograms of fentanyl powder and 1.1 million counterfeit pills seized, the potential death toll wasn't measured in hundreds, it could have reached the millions. That was the moment many officials stopped calling CJNG a cartel. They called it what U.S. intelligence had already classified it as, a foreign terrorist organization. Not because of ideology, but because of impact. Its weapon was addiction, its battlefield was the American street, and its casualties were measured in overdose statistics. Microcliff reset #2 AVD pacing. But if the product pipelines were that large, agents needed to know how much had they not found yet. That urgency shaped the final 48 hours of the surge. The operation's goal shifted from seizure to system shutdown. Analysts directed teams in real time, collapsing communication nodes, intercepting courier chains, and freezing cartel financial routes before they could be rerouted overseas. Every hour mattered. Every delay risked a recovery. So the assault continued relentlessly, night entries, rapid takedowns, and non-stop intel sweeps to expose hidden links before they disappeared. By day 5, the numbers told a story no briefing could fully capture. 6,000 kilos of methamphetamine, nearly 23,000 kilos of cocaine, 92 kilos of fentanyl powder, 1.1 million counterfeit pills, 244 firearms, 670 arrests, $48 million in cash and assets stripped away. It was one of the largest cartel disruptions in modern U.S. history. And yet, despite the victory, commanders repeated the same warning behind closed doors. This was only round 1. Because, while agents had crushed CJNG's week, they still hadn't touched its leadership, and the next 72 hours would determine whether the empire stayed down or found a way to rise again. By the final stretch of the 5-day surge, agents understood that the mission wasn't simply about seizing drugs or cuffing suspects. It was about stopping something far bigger from reforming once the smoke cleared. CJNG's U.S. and network had been hit harder than ever before. But the leadership was still out there, and if even one communication line remained intact, the cartel could recover. This wasn't a victory lap. This was a race against time. As arrests piled up, analysts watching intercepted signals saw signs of something unexpected: confusion. CJNG's response patterns were fractured. Middle-tier coordinators who once moved product with absolute discipline were suddenly silent. Some abandoned routes, others tried to run. Courier channels that once pulsed like arteries began to shut down. For a moment, it looked like the machine was finally stalling. But then a darker realization hit the command floor. Even wounded, CJNG was still transmitting encrypted chatter between surviving nodes. It wasn't loud, but it was there. The Empire was gasping for air. If those messages found their way to the right operators, the network could be rebuilt in days, not months. That was the nightmare scenario agents had to stop. The only way to break the loop was to expose how the network operated beneath the surface. Seized phones, ledgers, laptops, and routing painted a disturbing picture. CJNG wasn't hiding in remote corners of cartel territory. It was hiding in plain sight using suburban stash houses, commercial trucking routes, small shell companies, and neighborhood fronts that didn't raise suspicion until it was too late. The drugs they pushed were mass-produced in Mexico, but the delivery system was American. Quiet streets, ordinary storefronts, everyday traffic. Families living a few walls away from international trafficking hubs without ever knowing it. That was why the seizures mattered so much. 6,000 kilograms of methamphetamine, nearly 23,000 kilograms of cocaine, 92 kilograms of fentanyl powder, 1.1 million counterfeit fentanyl pills. When those numbers were first logged, agents didn't see statistics. They saw the scale of destruction that never reached its mark. Each shipment was a weapon. Each pill was a potential death. And each pound pulled out of circulation was a life that would never be lost to an overdose. But drugs weren't the cartel's only lifeline. Money kept CJNG breathing. That is why the $48 million seized in cash and assets became a turning point. Without money, there would be no bribes, no recruiters, no stash houses, no routes, no soldiers. For a moment, the operation felt ahead of the curve, but no one in the room celebrated. Not yet. Because agents understood the truth no press conference ever shows. A cartel doesn't die when its shipments stop. A cartel dies when its structure collapses. And CJNG's core structure, the leadership, the chain of command, the external suppliers remained beyond U.S. borders. Still breathing, still watching, still planning. The final hours of the surge were the most intense. Interrogations ran non-stop. Intelligence teams hunted for remaining contacts. Surveillance units monitored any sign of a regrouping attempt. Every second mattered. If the cartels stabilized before the raids ended, everything gained could be lost. The mission demanded total shutdown, not temporary disruption. When the surge finally concluded, the scale of the takedown stood unmatched. 670 arrests, 1.1 million counterfeit pills removed, $48 million stripped out of the system, 244 firearms seized, mega routes shattered, distribution lines severed. And for the first time, CJNG's US, the network wasn't bending, it was broken. Yet, even in victory, a chilling question remained unanswered. If this much damage existed on American soil,
So hang on just a second. So on that, when you was talking about that they used to be protected, that's exactly right. And that's why I'm saying, and I was saying this yesterday, they're no longer protected. Somebody has given the green light, which is our president of the United States of America, because it said that they had to contact Washington to get the green light to go in. And yeah, finally, our streets are being cleaned up like we were promised, like we actually voted for this, because why all of this? And $48 million, that's enough drugs over there that could have took out the whole United States of America by itself. Like, hell, oh my God.
how much more remained beyond the border, untouched and waiting, because the raid was over. But the war with CJNG was not, and what came next would determine whether this empire stayed down or rose from the shadows to strike again. When dawn broke on September 27th, the surge was over, but no one inside the command center felt triumph. Not really. The scoreboard looked historic. 670 arrests, 6,000 kilos of meth, 23,000 kilos of cocaine, 92 kilos of fentanyl powder, 1.1 million counterfeit, 244 and $48 million in cartel cash and assets. On paper, it was a crushing setback for CJNG, but everyone in that room understood the truth. This wasn't the end. This was a temporary silence in a long and unforgiving war, because CJNG was not built on a single city, a single lab, or a single crew. It was built like a global corporation, with foreign suppliers, rotating traffickers, disposable couriers, and leadership insulated behind layers of distance and deniability. You could cut off every visible arm, and the body could still regenerate. That is why federal officials called the surge a victory and a warning at the same time. They had stopped an active network. They had saved lives. But the architects of the empire were still out there. For communities across the United States, the stakes could not be clearer. The overdose crisis wasn't slowing. Fentanyl wasn't retreating, and CJNG wasn't finished. This 5-day strike had shattered one of its American branches, but the cartel still had labs overseas, routes through Mexico, and operatives waiting to fill vacancies. If the U.S. ever relaxed, even for a moment, CJNG could rebuild what was lost, and rebuild fast. Officials studying the aftermath drew one conclusion: the only strategy that works is constant pressure, coordinated pressure, relentless pressure. Not headline raids spread out over years, but synchronized strikes that leave the cartel no time to breathe, no room to adapt, and no corridors to exploit. The surge had proven it was possible. It had shown that when agencies move as one, CJNG's empire can be shaken to its foundation. But it also revealed something darker. CJNG's strength is not just measured in drugs or dollars. Its real power is placement. It hides in suburbs. It hides in routine traffic. It hides behind counterfeit pills that look harmless.
It hides everywhere. And this is the thing. We, as American citizens, we only knew of certain cartel names and stuff. We never heard of CJNG. I never heard of them. But I've heard of other, cartel names and stuff like that, But yeah, I mean, they had to simultaneously hit these people, and they had to hit them where it hurt, which the main way of hitting them where it hurt is that money, that $45 million. And 5 days, just every day, boom, 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 simultaneously going. Every state at the same exact time. I mean, to where they didn't have a lifeline. It was like an octopus trying to rip an octopus out, and trying to get all their tentacles at the same time. Yes. Now you know why Trump's attacking them in their own homeland now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It makes complete sense. But we're almost done, and then we'll be done with this part. But this is the most iconic arrests and the NBA, Italian mob and all of that in American history. This is some of the biggest iconic arrests to date.
Kill. And that means the battlefield is not just the border, it is every street, every school district, every quiet neighborhood where a single pill can end a life. The operation concluded. Federal briefings ended with a message the public would never hear in full. The fight is moving into a harder chapter. The seizures stopped a wave, but waves come in sets. More networks exist. More suppliers stand ready. More profits drive the machine forward. The cartel is global. And so, officials warned, the response must be global too. Yet, for all the danger that remains, one fact from that week cannot be erased. For 5 days in September 2025, CJNG's empire was stopped cold. Its money was seized. Its pipelines collapsed. Its operatives were dragged into custody. And its leadership, watching from afar, was reminded that the United States can still strike faster, deeper, and harder than any cartel expects. The raids ended. The cells fell. But the war isn't over. Because CJNG isn't just a cartel, it's a global threat. And
it's a whole enterprise. But see, this is the thing that they got to understand about America, is we've got the best military known to man. They said when they came in and they were doing those busts that we went over it the other day, they brought in Blackhawks, they brought in military, everything that they could bring in as far as taking these people down. We got the smartest, the most best technology, and we got to thank Trump for that, because he redone our whole military that was 50 years old, or we wouldn't even have been up to par to be able to get these people off the street, to be able to simultaneously get these thugs off the street and out of our country. And I mean, what's going to happen is, yeah, they're going to have to go to prison, but eventually they're going to be back where they belong, because we can't be housing them. They're not our people. But the ones that got arrested that are our people, well, they may go to Venezuela as well, because Venezuela was also, their gang was also taken down in Los Angeles. And see, yeah, that's right. Nobody can match the USA. And so all these people trying to constantly act like they're the military and their military is bigger. It's not. And when you get the whole force of the United States of America wanting to take you down, wanting to take all your tentacles out, guess what? It's going to happen. And they're going to drain your blood, and you're not going to come back to America, because we want free air. We don't need drugs around our children. We don't need people thinking they can come in and traffic people. We're not in the slave days. You know, we don't need babies being sold and bought. We just want to live a normal American life. And that's it. That's all we asked for when we voted for Trump, was a normal, safe American life. And that's it. That's all we asked for. That's all we wanted. Our kids to be safe, our schools to be safe, the streets to be safe. I mean, when they hit Kensington, I'm so thankful they hit Kensington, Pennsylvania, because that place is a zombie town. There's so many people just walking around like, who wants to see that? Nobody. And it was a whole street. And then these people just running around. They're just running around, giving people all these drugs that's already half dead. No, we don't want that in America. So when these arrests came, and when I started seeing this, hey, Raindrop, I started seeing this and everything, I was so happy that this is what I've waited on for 7 years. And then whenever we had other people in control, they opened those borders where 350,000 children just don't know where they went, may never find them again. Because if you notice, the one was arrested for organ harvesting. So just let that sink in. Just let that sink in. You know what I mean? But anyways, I am your host, Betty Washam, and today we were going over the most iconic raid, arrest, major drug cartel takedown in America. And mark these dates. They were done in 5 days. And then right after that was the NBA, and they took down the Italian mob. Only one mob family was not involved, and that's the Gottis. That's the only mob family that was not involved. All the rest of them were all involved. And guess what? Our streets are safer. Everybody's safer. And things are getting safer. So each day, just thank your lucky stars that you live in America, because at least in America, we live in a free country. Go to the other countries and see how much worse it is. There's a woman right now that she moved, I believe, to Colombia, somewhere like that. And she was privileged here. And she's like, I didn't realize how privileged I was. I want to go back to America. And they won't give her a passport to come back. So, no, you left because Trump's president. You go stay over there. You go stay over there. Because it don't matter who's president. The thing is we actually get freedom in this country. And you don't realize it until you go to another country and you see how horrible that is, you know. Good morning, my sisters, boys. Everybody have a fantastic day. This was the end of my segment. You can hit replay, leave a comment, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow morning with some more news. And I'm out.
You gotta take control. Life's too short. Get out of your head, make a better life instead. You gotta give it all your best. So put your hands up to the sky and live your best life, alright. Don't just let it go by, just try, oh my. Got only one life, got only this time. We gonna get it right. You gotta let go of those who don't belong in your tribe. So cut the bad out of your life. Yeah, do it one time. You gotta work till you're winning. Yeah, take control of the system. When you invest, it's addicting. No time to rest, let's go get it. Not gonna stop till I'm finished. Not gonna drop to my limits. Deep in my chest, I'm inhaling. Believe in testing and failing. You gotta flip everything in your mind. Take the limiting thoughts and turn them into your why. Prove to yourself you're worth it. You deserve it. Push past all the hurt and find your purpose. You gotta take control. Life's too short.